Every level of MMA striking explained. Level 1, awful. Level 1 is awful striking. And I'm not talking about fighters who are just a little bit sloppy or wild. I'm talking about fighters whose striking is so fundamentally broken that it's almost painful to watch. These are guys who somehow made it to the UFC despite having striking that looks like they learned it last week. And the poster child for this level is Ben Askren. Ben Askren is one of the most decorated grapplers to ever step in the octagon. But his striking looked like he never thrown a punch in his life. Ben Askren had some of the worst striking fundamentals you'll ever see in a professional fighter. His stance was all wrong, his head movement was non-existent, his punches had no power and even less technique. He threw everything with his arms, no hip rotation, no weight transfer, just arm punches. But the most famous example of Ben Askren's striking is the legendary spinning back fist of doom. Ben threw one of the sloppiest, slowest, spinning back fists in UFC history. There's also his most unfortunate moment, the 5-second flying knee loss against Masvidal. And if you still need more convincing, you can just look at his boxing match with Jake Paul. Level 2, bad but dangerous. Level 2 is where we get fighters who still have really bad striking, but they have one redeemable quality that makes them dangerous. Their technique is still terrible, their fundamentals are still lacking, but they have that one thing that can bail them out. And the perfect example of this is Derrick Lewis. His footwork is pretty much non-existent, his combinations are basic at best. But here's the thing, Derrick Lewis has legitimate one-punch knockout power. And I'm not talking about normal heavyweight power. I'm talking about the kind of power where he can be losing every second of a fight, throw one overhand right, and completely flatline his opponent. He's done it over and over again. Curtis Blaydes, Alexander Volkov, all of them were winning their fights until they weren't. Because that's what level 2 striking is. It's bad enough that you're getting pieced up by better strikers, but dangerous enough that you're never truly out of the fight. Ngannou was like this early in his career as well. He threw what might have been the least technical punches ever thrown in the octagon, but it didn't matter. He still got the knockout. Level 2 strikers survive in the UFC because they have that one weapon. Maybe it's knockout power like Lewis, maybe it's freakish reach or durability, but take that one thing away and their striking falls apart completely. They're one-dimensional in the stand-up, and it shows every time they fight someone who can neutralize their single threat. Level 3. Level 3 is where we finally get to fighters who actually have basic fundamentals down. These guys know how to throw a proper punch. They understand footwork exists, and they've clearly spent real time working on their striking. But here's the problem. They really stick out in one department while lacking in everything else. Michael Chandler's the perfect example of level 3 striking. Chandler has legit knockout power. He hurt Justin Gaethje, he dropped Charles Oliveira, he had moments against Dustin Poirier. He can control distance fast and unload powerful combinations that overwhelm his opponents. But that's where it ends. Because Michael Chandler's defense is absolutely terrible. He stands right in front of you with his chin up in the air, hands low, just begging to get hit. And he does get hit constantly. Chandler gets dropped or hurt in almost every single fight because he has zero regard for what's coming back at him. He's so focused on landing his own power shots that he walks face first into counters. And his arsenal, it's tiny. Chandler throws overhand rights and left hooks. That's basically it. Maybe he'll mix in low kicks here or there, but his striking is so predictable that high-level fighters can see everything coming. There's no jab game, no setups, no feints to create openings. He just marches forward and tries to land the same power punches over and over. Sometimes it works because his power and explosiveness are that good, but against elite strikers who can manage distance and time their counters, Chandler gets picked apart. That's level 3 striking. You'll have your moments. You'll hurt people, but you're never going to truly dominate the stand-up game because everybody knows exactly what you're going to do. Level 4, solid. Level 4 is where striking actually becomes solid. These fighters have well-rounded fundamentals, multiple tools in their arsenal, and can genuinely hold their own against top-level strikers. They're not going to blow you away with their striking, but they're not going to get embarrassed on the feet either. They have moments against elite competition and can sometimes even hurt world-class strikers. And a great example of this level is Khabib. Now, I know what you're thinking. Khabib striking, really? But hear me out. Khabib had way better striking than people give him credit for. His jab was actually really solid. He used it constantly to set up his takedowns and to keep distance when he needed to. His head movement was decent. He'd slip punches, just enough to not get caught clean. I mean, he rocked Conor McGregor. Sure, it was probably because Conor was terrified of the takedown, but Khabib still landed a clean overhand right that buckled one of the best strikers in the sport. That doesn't happen if your striking's garbage. Level 5. Level 5 is where we get to world-class strikers. These are fighters who are legitimately known for their striking. You're watching high-level technique, elite timing, and a striking game that can dominate championship-level competition. These guys can and have beaten some of the best strikers in the sport using their stand-up game alone. Sean Strickland is a perfect example of level 5 striking. And before you say anything, yes, I know his striking looks boring, but Sean Strickland outstruck Adesanya to win the middleweight championship. He beat one of the most decorated kickboxers in MMA history in a pure striking match. That's world class. His defense is genuinely some of the best in the UFC. His timing's incredible. He doesn't throw a lot, but when he does, his punches land clean because he's reading his opponent perfectly. But here's what keeps Strickland at level 5 instead of higher. He lacks output. He doesn't throw enough volume to truly dominate fights. Against Adesanya, that was enough to get him the win. But against someone like DDP, his lack of aggression and output cost him. That's the thing about level 5 strikers. They're world class at certain aspects of striking. Maybe it's defense like Strickland, but there's always something missing that keeps them from being truly complete. Level 6. Level 6 is where we get to the truly elite, complete strikers. These fighters are world class at almost everything. Their striking has no glaring holes. They can beat you in multiple ways and have proven themselves against the absolute best competition. But there's still something keeping them from that final level. Maybe they lack that one insane specialty that makes them truly unstoppable. Or maybe they have a small weakness that the very best can exploit. Alexander Volkanovski exposed Mac's boxing defense multiple times in their trilogy and broke him down with leg kicks in their first fight. Ilia Topuria walked through Max's volume and knocked him out cold. Level 6 fighters are technical marvels. They have answers for almost everything. They refine their striking to the point that there are no major holes in their game. But they don't have that one thing that makes them truly special. They don't have Pereira's one-shot power. They're excellent everywhere, but not exceptional anywhere. Level 7. This is the absolute pinnacle of striking in MMA. They've brought something to the sport that we've never seen before. They're not just good at everything. They're exceptional at something to the point where it changes the game. The ones who set a new standard for what's possible on the feet. Ilia Topuria represents the best pure boxing we've ever seen in the UFC. Not just good boxing, not just technical boxing, the absolute best. Ilia's hands are on a completely different level than anyone else in the sport. His punch placement is surgical, his timing's perfect, his power's devastating. And the scary part, he doesn't just have one-shot knockout power, he has combination knockout power. He breaks you down with crisp technical boxing and then finishes you with perfectly placed shots. Look at what he did to Max Holloway. Max, one of the best strikers in UFC history, got knocked out cold, or Alexander Volkanovski, knocked out in the second round. Ilia doesn't just beat elite strikers, he finishes them. He's brought a new level to boxing and MMA that we simply haven't seen before. His footwork, his feints, his ability to close distance and land clean, it's all operating at a level above everyone else. Then there's Alex Pereira, the best kickboxer to ever step in the octagon. Alex is a 2-division Glory kickboxing champion who brought that world-class striking directly into MMA. And the most terrifying part, his knockout power. Pereira has genuine fight-ending knockout power. That's level 7.